Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got a great one for you today. FinCEN comes in with some news on the unhosted wallets. Got breaking news on that. Ripple partners connect with some of the largest banks in the world, and we're going to talk about that. Then there's Explorer, XRP Lure. Explorer has partnered with GateHub. We got to get into that a little bit. RippleNet on-demand liquidity registers $2.4 billion in volume, and it doesn't stop there. Stablecoins have a record-breaking month, but why are we going to talk about it? There's a very big deal. We get into that. And one more thing before we cover it. Bank of England, did the Governor Andrew Bailey just give XRP the nod? Let's get into this thing. Roll that intro.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradley above at the top of the screen, and everything that we're talking about here today. Let's go ahead and get into this. We have a lot to unpack right now. Not so excited about this part. We're down under $1 trillion collectively for the crypto space. Bitcoin currently falling like a manhole cover from the sky, and it is at 32,201, off by 14.27% on the 7-day and almost 5% on the 24-hour. XRP 26 cents right now and off 13.24% courtesy of the SEC's dereliction of duty, and off 2.8% on the 24-hour. Let's go ahead and start getting into this. Ripple-backed Coil is joining Google Chrome developers, Microsoft Edge developers, W3C developers, Samsung Internet developers, Igalia, and Mozilla to ensure developers have high quality and up-to-date documentation to build incredible things for the web. This is the point that I want to share, that I firmly believe that I didn't see Coil just surviving on its own, and no offense to Coil or anybody there, but I've always seen Coil as a add-on feature, as a feature that would eventually get picked up by Google and Microsoft and the Samsungs and Mozillas and everyone else of the world. And hopefully that does happen, and we stop seeing this subscription paywalls that we currently see on the internet now, which are a complete pain, and we could start to get streaming paywalls or streaming content where you get paid by what you read or what you use on the internet. And I just think that's a fantastic model or feature that could be adopted into the already successful entities. And it looks like we may be seeing the first start of that happening here with Coil. And I'm very excited for them. I hope that's what matures from that. Looking here, Mike Novogratz from Galaxy Digital to launch Ethereum funds. And he says here, cryptocurrency investment firm Galaxy Digital is planning new funds for Ethereum native coin Ether. Galaxy Digital has $815 million under management. That's a lot of money. Looking here, now I have to actually cut this clip because I pre-recorded this video and they won't let me play this particular portion of the video. So I have to make sure that I get this video gone before we go on to the next thing. So here we go. Enjoy the rest of the video. Wheel of Fortune did have someone on named Jeremy who gave decentralized finance and crypto a nod while he was a guest on the game show, but I'm not allowed to play it for you because it's ineligible and it's a copyright. So I had to skip it, but that's what that piece was. Listen to this right here. Maxis, because he knows that there's something coming with regulation. Maybe he knows what this guy feels like. Loyal Blankfein from former Goldman Sachs CEO says regulation will undermine Bitcoin. And I firmly believe if you go back, I think it was about a week or a week and a half ago, we covered Barry Silbert talking about hashtag bring U.S. Bitcoin mining, or bring Bitcoin mining to the U.S., something of that nature, if you remember it. And it just really spoke to me that, you know, everyone, including, mind you, the recent nominee for the SEC, Gary Gensler, who was the former CFTC chair, you know, he is well aware of the mining pools and who controls them, and it's China and Russia. I played that in this morning's video. So you have to say to yourself, even though we see the Mike Novogratz and Galaxy Digital, and we see Barry Silbert and the Grayscale funds bringing in the institutions and the big money into the space, which is amazing, but that doesn't mean that this is the way the space is going to look. That doesn't mean that there aren't going to be some rules and regulations that come out that restrict how all of this happens with proof of work. There is a huge narrative that has blossomed almost overnight about going green, and XRP and the ledger are all about that. And Brad Garlinghouse even tweeted yesterday late day about decarbonizing blockchain. So there is something to come for all this proof of work. And I think Bitcoin, obviously, brand awareness for crypto space, I think it'll be here long term. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to see some regulations that come through that more than likely, I'm banking on the fact that, maxis aren't going to like it, but institutions are going to really love it. So we're going to see what goes on with that. And here's the deal. And we know that we're going to get some regulations because why? Because of just what Michael Val 5link shows us here. Harvard University, Yale University, Brown University, and the University of Michigan are among schools whose multi-billion-dollar endowments, that's multi-billion with a B, multi-billion-dollar endowments have begun buying cryptocurrency directly on exchanges, according to a report. This is why I feel like, one, we're going to see three main areas addressed in this regulatory clarity that we're about to get. And I believe we're going to get it in the stablecoin, which is the on and off to the digital world. And I believe we're going to get it in the wholesale back end, and we're going to find out what XLM and XRP really are. And we're going to find out what the custody solution is going forward beyond what we currently have, because what we currently have available out here is not really a scalable solution. So we all don't hold our stocks, and we don't sit around thinking, well, if you don't hold your stocks, then Fidelity owns them. So that's not a solution make going forward here, thinking, not your keys, not your crypto. I get all of that, and I get that there's a sense of empowerment there. There's also a sense of being able to lose your crypto and then drive yourself insane, not being able to remember what your keys are or that you lost them or whatever. Stephen Thomas is a fine example of this, and that guy's a genius in this sector, right? And he's got 220 or 230 million worth of Bitcoin that he can't remember the words to get into. I bet he'd like a custody solution that was scalable right about now, right? Because then you could go to Fidelity and they'd be responsible for it if they couldn't remember it. And that's a solution I can live with at almost 50. So looking here, the XRP powered on-demand liquidity solution is responsible for $2.4 billion of the total volume. Get you some of that. Yeah, that's getting it done right there. And I wanted to go ahead and ring this in because Ripple on-demand line of credit. Looking forward to this going live, says Bank XRP. Shout out to Bank XRP. Ashish Burla had a really great thread, and this was the part that I highlighted right here about it. And I'm looking for the line of credit to go to because I feel that this is vision complete. This is really part of that whole cycle of Ripple becoming a full-fledged newborn central bank. Think of it. They have their own money. It's XRP, right? They have been a good steward of it and exercising what you see when they receive the release of the escrow, which is in lockup, which obviously sent people nuts back in 17 and 18 when that was announced, because it showed that they were being sensible and trying to operate in good faith of using it, and they weren't going to dump on the market. So imagine if there's a scenario where we see through this SEC lawsuit that Ripple can't really be the steward of the escrow anymore. And there has to be some kind of, governance put together. The panel, a G7, G20 style governance that is a part of this. Anybody who's participating in using it becomes a part of it. I don't particularly know, but what I do know is that, when I see them exercising a line of credit with XRP of what they hold, because a Delaware court has, since the Tetragon lawsuit against Ripple, has ordered Ripple to stop all sales of XRP. So that is from OTC as I understand it. So what they do with their own bags, I believe, is their own business. So, but that's another matter. But the truth is this line of credit here is pretty interesting to me because it really puts them in the lender of last resort, like a central bank. And at this point, they do have their own money. And when you see the fact that they've held the escrow schedule and they've remained true to that, and when they do receive the monthly releases, because they are the steward of that escrow release, you see them act very above board in the fact that they determine what fraction needs to stay out for clients and what needs to go on back end for new contracts on the escrow. And that to me is exercising monetary policy of a brand new asset. That's exactly what I feel like I've been seeing. Even when we saw last Q2, which again, because of the Tetragon lawsuit, Ripple has said they can't buy back XRP currently right now from the Delaware Court, Chancery Court. But what they had set up in Q2 of 2020 telling us that they would begin to buy back off of secondary exchanges, and that really helped complete the cycle of monetary policy too. You remember, the retail investor is the noisy part of this whole thing. That's all of us, whether we like it or not. And the reality is the only way to really kill the golden goose isn't with a security designation per se, and it isn't with any other designation per se. The real way to kill the golden goose is if everyone holds it and no one uses it. And that's why we're not really the best ones for it, and we're not the ones that they're actually facing towards. They are facing towards sophisticated institutions because they will use it, and they will bring massive amounts of volume and utility to the network. And obviously, in doing so, they will have access to deep levels of liquidity. All right, so keeping this moving here, we see Ripple continues to move into space. Ripple is hiring a senior policy manager in Asia Pacific region. Ripple senior policy manager will develop and advocate for policy and regulation that promotes responsibility, innovation in the digital assets cross-border payment space. And, I couldn't be more excited because they're not stopping. They're not stopping. The large part of their customer base is not in the U.S., and Ripple is just still going. Boom, 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 still going, boom, boom, just like the Energizer Bunny. And here we see, this is from XRP Crypto Wolf. January sees 237 billion in monthly stablecoin volume thus far, breaking the prior record. Now this is interesting because again, this points to the on and off ramp. Tether, USD Tether, holds more than half of January's current adjusted on-chain stablecoin volume. And now sitting with a $1.4 trillion lawsuit hanging over their head from not a market regulator, but the federal government. Yeah, might want to tune into that one. I'm telling you, a lot of people think, hey, what do I care about stable coins? It's just a place for me to hold my money while I go get something else. Okay, all right, I got you. I got you. It's not an investment item. I get it. So if it can't make you rich, you don't want to know about it. Well, I'll tell you something. You're going to want to pay attention to all of this because there's a reason for a $1.4 trillion lawsuit. You can bet your bottom dollar on that. So here we know that there's a lot of money moving through Tether, right? So stay tuned. Here we move to a really, really important part of this video where we're talking about the Bank of England Governor, Andrew Bailey, just advertised XRP by criticizing cross-border payments. And he really does. Let's take a look at this because Michael Val 5 Links nailed it. And let's start right here. It's very short. At the ongoing virtual Davos conference, Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey mentioned that there were some gaps to fill in digital payments in spite of a flurry of innovation it has witnessed in recent years. We still have some very big gaps to fill. He particularly mentioned cross-border remittances as the obvious one since they are way too expensive. Cross-border payments being the obvious one where the cost making payments is too high. Here, this is the part I really like. While he didn't directly mention XRP, his words can definitely be perceived as a nod to the fifth largest cryptocurrency by market cap. And I say this to build on the whole point of it all is because there isn't one other company or token that you could point to right now to tell me that they've been working with more than 50 governments the way that Ripple and XRP has. Go ahead. I'll wait. But here's the big part of this. This is from the G30. That's right, the G30 on digital currency. See it up here in the top left? G30. And guess who this is? Coordinating the introduction of global official sector stable coins. This is what I believe is a final destination for XRP, is to become a global stable coin. Or at least to have a stable coin built off of it, one or the other. And I believe that ever since I've heard Mark Carney say it in 2019. Who's Mark Carney, you ask? He is the former governor of the Bank of England. That's right. He's the guy who used to do what this guy does. And now this guy's acknowledging the same problem with cross-border payments now that he's got this guy's job. And this guy said in 2019, has raised the question of whether a global coordinated systemic hegemonic currency could dampen the spillover shocks associated with the dominance of the US dollar as a reserve currency. A systemic hegemonic currency could, for example, be a stablecoin backed by a basket of deposits at different central banks. I have said this over and over. What he just said is that all the central banks, as Michelle Bond said at her time at Ripple, we're working with over 50 governments around the world. Let's take 50 central banks then. Well, 50 central banks could take a certain amount of reserves and set it aside to collateralize the ledger. And they could put that on the ledger and they could instantly give a prefixed value to the ledger outside of what the current value is of it right now. Yep. And if they wanted to in the United States, they could give it a security designation and make it operate like a bond or like a bearer bond, and it would have utility and you could use it just like money because bonds are just like cash. So, okay, so here we go. No, you don't see people walking into 7-Elevens with bonds, but you get my point if you understand what a bearer bond is. So you could have a stable coin issued off of it, I don't know, on something like, let's say, Flare Networks, FXRP, baby. So looking here and reading on to this, after he talks about a basket of deposits at different central banks, it is possible that such a stable coin could be valuable for cross-border payments, serving a function similar to that offered in the private sector by Ripple. A real-time gross settlement system, currency exchange, and remittance network whose digital currency, not security, but currency, is XRP, leapfrog slow, expensive correspondent banking. There you have it. Don't believe me when I say it, but you might want to start believing people who get to be the Bank of England governor like Mark Carney back in 2019 and now acknowledging it, the new governor of the Bank of England, Andrew Bailey. Looking at this news, breaking, FinCEN is opening the comment period of its counterparty collection rule for 60 days, it announced Tuesday. So that means when it comes to unhosted wallets and whether or not we're going to be tracking and reporting that information from exchanges who are seeing the addresses be sent to unhosted wallets, we have 60 days before we get the public comment on that. It was 15 with the previous administration. They've opened it up, and that's where we are at this time. We will let you know what happens after that closes. Reserve Bank of India from XRP Crypto Wolf is exploring the possibility of digital currency. India's central bank developing a digital currency would be a major shift in the bank's position given its former ban on crypto businesses. What a bunch of hypocrites, says XRP Crypto Wolf. You know what? It takes time to work these things out and figure out where it's going, right? But the reality is everyone is making a central bank digital currency, period. Bar none. Hands down. And you know what? Feel good about all of it because Ripple partnered with Lulu Exchange and Federal Bank to enhance real-time payments from UAE to India. That is a massive corridor, ladies and gentlemen, that are faster and more affordable than ever before. Step into any of the 76 branches in the UAE. Here's what I got to say about that. I actually have to stop this because it may be a copyright infringement. So let me just skip ahead of that so we don't get in trouble for it. Let me move just a little bit ahead here. And we go to this next piece of news. There you go. We're back into it. Here we go. XRP Ledger Transactions has partnered with GateHub Digital Wallet to ensure maximum privacy of users' keys. Now check this out. Explorer Instruments Explorer to power GateHub Security Solutions says Explorer, an observing service for XRP Ledger Transactions, has partnered with GateHub Digital Wallet to ensure the maximum privacy for the user's keys. Explorer team is tasked with development of analytical tools for the XRP Ledger blockchain. Also, its transparency arm, XRP Forensics, tracks assets to prevent scams and abuse in the XRP Ledger. Today, Explorer announced a new partnership to expand the adoption of its security instruments. Interesting. Very interesting. You know, you see these things and you realize that forward motion that I see happening here to, continue to regulate and protect, right, the ledger and everyone who uses it, tells me that, whether it's 1 month or 2 months or 3 months or 4 or tomorrow morning, this is all going to get sorted out because the world is still moving forward with using it. And the SEC, I don't believe, especially with Gary Gensler and his knowledge, is going to put XRP in a position where it cannot operate at full-scale intended use. I just don't believe it for a minute. But that doesn't mean it won't be called a security. That's going to do it for me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe and a comment below. Make sure you share with somebody you know and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Check out all the links in the description and the comment section. Really great products and services that I use each and every day, and there may be something in there that you want or need, and they are trusted, vetted links. Don't forget, guys, also, I have had for a while, and I've done a poor job of this, I have a podcast. And we have well over 3,000 downloads, and I haven't even mentioned it. And it's horrible on my part. If you like podcasts and you want to hear this and you don't want to try to use YouTube while you're in the car, go to Podbean and click the link in my description, and you will see that you can join the podcast there. And make sure if you need any tax help to ask for Clinton Donnelly, that link is in there as well. I will talk to you on the next one.